Hello and welcome to day number 2 of the World Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup here in Zagreb. My name's Alan March, taking you through the action for the entire World Cup and the World Championships of Para-Alpine Skiing. It starts next week, but this is the final event before the big World Championships, kicking off in Kranjska Gora before moving to Selanovija. This is the World Cup from Zagreb here in Croatia, on the Sljemi mountain, Bear Mountain, as it's known locally. Day 1 threw us plenty of exciting racing, new names to learn, and people picking up their first ever World Cup medals here on a quick but testing course. As you can see, in the outskirts of Zagreb itself, right from the top here. The temperature around about -1 on the snow. The air temperature much warmer than that. It's been really pleasant conditions here in Zagreb since arriving a few days ago. Blustery, but no sign of any rain. But the wind has caused its own problems. And we're looking for people to cross that line and get themselves a medal here on day number 2. The Crveni Spust course, starting altitude today of 988 metres, dropping down 220 metres, 69 gates, and today's course set by one of the members of Team Canada, Lasse Eriksson. Of those 69 gates are turning. If you want to get involved with the chat, then you can follow us at Para-Alpine. Use the hashtag Para-Alpine. If you want to follow on Facebook, it's World Para-Alpine Skiing as well. You can also use Zagreb 2019 and hashtag World Cup as well in your communications. Make sure you're watching all of the action. We'll kick off, as always, with the women's visually impaired category. Those athletes will go before the standing women. There are no women sit skiers here in Zagreb, so vision impaired men follow on from that with the standing, and then the men's sitting event as well. It was all far too easy for Jesper Pedersen yesterday afternoon. 3 of the starting 4 men in the sit category failed to start the second run, so he just challenged himself down the mountain and took the World Cup points on offer. This lady at the top of the list, though, the big surprise yesterday, Veronika Aigner from Austria, easily taking victory ahead of Gallagher, Fitzpatrick and Perrine. Vakasova was disqualified yesterday for an infringement in the course check before the start of action. So 15-year-old surprising us on the opening day of the World Cup. Ineligible to race at the World Championships, which is a little bit of a blow, because it would have been interesting to see how advanced Aigner and her sister Elizabeth Aigner, the guide, are in their journey, but that's not to be. It'll be a good challenge today. Vakasova is back on the start list. That was Lasse Eriksson a couple of moments ago in your shot, the man who set the course. That's Kelly Gallagher waiting in the wings, or maybe waiting in the wind, I suppose is the right way of putting it. The ups and downs of alpine skiing being brought to you live every leg of the World Cup. Here is the team of Farkasova and Subatova. Away with Aigner. After yesterday's victory, I'm sure the rest of the women's VI category have taken note that a 15-year-old tore up the course, very much ahead of the rest of the field, but can she show us the exact same speed and agility in her second day as well? As I mentioned a little bit earlier, her guide is her own sister, Elizabeth. But both of her sisters have guided her in the past. Irmgard Aigner as well. A real family of skiers. Despite being just 15, it's something that's so natural, and she makes it look so natural as well. 106.28. The time on the screen as she crosses the line. .106.28 is the time then. Formidable Farkasova up next. If it's been there to be won, Henrietta Farkasova has won it. It was nearly a dream Paralympics in Pyeongchang, of course. The Slovakian taking the downhill, the Super G, the Super Combined and the Giant Slalom titles, only to be edged out by Great Britain's Menna Fitzpatrick in the slalom event. Fitzpatrick wears bib number 4 in this World Cup. These two will be out to prove a point after yesterday's rule infringement disqualification. The rules of the event being applied, and even the very best can fall foul. Chasing down on Veronica Aigner. Through the line she comes, 107.85. Aigner's time showing is 106.28, so Farkasova will wait and see if that is the official time, which it is. 107.85. 1.57 seconds the difference then. Big statements being made by Veronica Aigner in the early stages of the World Cup. This is Kelly Gallagher now. 33-year-old guide Gary Smith, just a year older than Farkasova. Multiple World Championship medals. Over 3 seconds back at the moment, Gallagher. She was one of People at the bottom of the hill trying to find Australian guide Bobby Kelly's mobile phone in the snow yesterday. Gallagher was very concerned that the Australians should find it. And she's found her way to the bottom of this run. Her time 1:11.57. It's the pairing that had a sensational 2018 in this, the World Championship year. Can they equal that? Potentially even better it. The emergence of Aigner will not have gone unnoticed. Patrick is young herself, but vastly more experienced, having already competed at the Winter Games and at a World Championships in Treviso. The joy that was shared by Fitzpatrick and Jen Keogh, her guide, at that gold from Pyeongchang. She's behind. Interesting to see if she can slot herself in between Aigner and Farkasova. She's some 4 seconds back though. Some of the athletes saying the course is a little wetter than yesterday. Still fairly icy. Each of these cope with the conditions in their own way, but that's a 1:12.15 from Fitzpatrick. May well be behind Kelly Gallagher. And the official times eventually come through. It is 1:12.15, so Fitzpatrick goes fourth. And here comes Perrine from Australia. New World Cup season, a new guide. Christian Geiger going back to concentrating just on coaching. So Bobby Kelly, who Melissa Perrine was explaining, had been asked several times over a couple of years span to see if she'd like to come and be a guide. Eventually agreeing, and enjoying themselves. They've had a lot of fun out in Austria. Very different conditions over there in the Austrian Alps, and really enjoying themselves in the soft snow, but here working hard to try and find the right lines to compete with Aigner and Farkasova. Really seem to have a good bond and a good friendship, even in this early stages of their partnership. At a 1:12.14, just inside Fitzpatrick's time, so standings don't change too much. Aigner, Farkasova, Gallagher, Perrine and Fitzpatrick. And there's the official results from the first run. Don't forget, 2 runs of the slalom event. Combine the 2 times together, and the winner is the one with the quickest of the times once they are combined. Aigner from Farkasova, Gallagher, Perrine and Fitzpatrick in the opening run of the women's VI slalom. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, you can use the hashtag Paralpine. You can also use Zagreb 2019 and World Cup as your hashtags as well. But if you want to follow us for more content, then on Twitter and Instagram at Paralpine, on the Facebook page as well, World Paralpine Skiing. As we move towards the women's standing event, just 4 ladies taking part in this, including yesterday's winner, Frédérique Turgeon from Canada. She'll go second. The race director looking on. A debate about the course, no doubt, between Gallagher and Farkasova. Maybe they're talking about the 15-year-old that now looks to challenge right at the top end of the women's vision impaired category. First up in the women's standing then, Petra Smarzova. Smarzova, bib number 6.
Dakle, malo se ubrzava, čisto da znate.
8-year-old Volaski. One of the strong Slovakian team. Miroslav Hreos here as well in the men's VI. Just the use of the single pole, the right hand. Petra born without her left hand. Having taken up skiing at the age of just 3 years of age, she will have learned to cope with just the one ski pole very, very quickly. And good enough to race down in a time of 1:16.29 on this occasion. Certainly took its toll. Catch her breath at the end. '19-year-old Frédérique Turgeon, first ever World Cup podium, and no better way to do that than by making it right to the top. So a gold in the World Cup for the first time, and that was replicated in the men's event as well. Hilmar Olvarsson picking up the men's victory for Iceland. That was their first ever, let alone his, but that was their first ever gold at the World Cup and his first podium place. So the standing event giving us some new faces. Five seconds inside Smarzova. Through the line then, Turgeon, 7.27 seconds quicker, and well, she was sat in this room earlier telling us that she was concerned that maybe the course had changed a little bit too much for her liking overnight, but not to be. Much, much quicker than Smarzova, so good stuff from Turgeon. Now the wind is really starting to have an impact on the course. The athlete safety is being discussed as we race at the moment, so we'll keep you up to speed if there are any changes, but certainly the weather has caused enough concern for them to have a discussion about that, so we'll keep you informed as we know more. Obviously the athlete's health and safety is paramount within the sport, as it would be in any other. Ana Maria Reda finding herself a couple of seconds back in the opening stages. Although it's just 18 years of age. 36 medals were won by athletes 21 years or under during Pyeongchang, and there were only 90 medals to go at, so it shows you that there is a good crop of young skiers, with people like Veronica Agner being added to that list. It's continuing to grow. The fact that now every World Cup is brought to you live shows you how much the sport itself is growing, as Reida hurtles towards the line, but she's nearly 5 seconds back on Turgeon. 1:14.01, so 4.99 seconds was the difference. Elena Krater from Switzerland up next. 22-year-old from St. Gallen in Switzerland. Started her career with the Plus Sport Club in Switzerland. Skiing was actually recommended to her as part of her rehabilitation. Amputation of the right leg. Fairly young age. Krater moving her way down. She's just inside 6 seconds back. Showing you that Turgeon really did put in a very quick and strong performance. Looking for back-to-back victories here in Zagreb, the Canadian. Krater just struggling her way through this bottom section. She'll be relieved to see the line coming. 1:19.46 in the end, and a real struggle towards the bottom end for Switzerland's Elena Krater. And that puts her in fourth and final position. So there are the standings. Krater from Smatova and Reida. That's the top three. But Frédéric Turgeon, 109.02. Very much above the rest in her performance, as we see her speeding down the mountain. Now, as mentioned, there is no women's sitting event here in Zagreb, so we'll move into the men's VI, the vision impaired athletes. 5 will go with their guides. Damir Mizrak at the bottom of the list there, picked up a third place finish on his home course with a new guide himself. Ria Mikulic, first time out at a World Cup, and they as a pairing, and they get themselves bronze medal, or bronze place finish. There's Turgeon from the women's standing, victorious yesterday. Great run a few moments ago to lead the way. Giacomo Bertagnoli will be second to go in this event. He will be looking to improve on yesterday. A loose ski from Fabrizio Casal, his boot coming unattached, and that was the end of their second run. Then Morgenfurt, oldest of the athletes here on show in Zagreb. Years old. Being guided down by Christoph Meiner. hear the guide's instructions. All of those being done through that microphone in the guide's helmet. Technology allowing a Bluetooth headset for these VI athletes. Morgan Foot in his bright green protective gear across the line. And that time 107.41. Heading towards the World Championships, these two will be looking to rectify those mistakes. So costly, just losing your ski halfway down a course, as innocent as it may seem. I'm sure every check will have been made by Giacomo Bertagnoli, but also by his long-term school friend Fabrizio Casal, and now guide. 2 seconds inside Morgan Foot already. Morgan Foot setting that opening time, 107.41. The Paralympic slalom champion is coming. Year-old into the line, 102.48, much quicker than the Austrian. So straight to the top of the leaderboard for Bertagnoli. 102.48, 4.93 seconds the difference for the Italian. He's yesterday's winner, Miroslav Reus. You'll note the guides continue to wear the orange bib with the G on, but the leaders of the World Cup get given a separate bib, and as the Selenavea part of the World Cup was cancelled in December, anybody who won yesterday is denoted as the leader by that different coloured bib. You see the red hoop that goes around the waist on their bib. Now Reus is inside Bertagnoli's time here. First intermediate time. The IT at the bottom meaning intermediate time, and this is the second section. Reus and his guide Maros Hudik are now just 0.35 outside of the Italian. Interesting tussle between the Slovakian and the Italian then, in towards the final section of the course. 102.48, a big slide, and that made a real difference. 1.18 seconds back for Reus. It was a real big slide towards the penultimate gates. And Reus' time means he is into second, but still some 1.18 seconds back from Giacomo Bertagnoli. We're seeing plenty of new talent on show here in Zagreb, and yesterday Neil Simpson showed us his tenacity. He missed a gate, but fought his way back up the hill to make sure he went through and made sure he finished his run. And I'm sure the Donald Skiers Club members were cheering him on ferociously as he did that. just 16, with a Europa Cup victory in Landgraf the back end of last season, or last year. It's still early stages for Neil, normally guided by his brother. But with Andrew absent for this, it's fallen to clubmate Jamie Robertson. And those two will get themselves across the line in 1:09.42, 6.94 seconds back on Bertagnoli. In behind Morgenfurt they go. And the final of the men's vision impaired category. The athlete here is Damir Mizrak from Croatia. I mentioned a few of the VI skiers have got themselves brand new guides for the season. He was used to be the responsibility of Luka Debeljak. This season, Damir has switched. Ria Mikulic, 21-year-old from Zagreb. Guiding Mizrak to a third-place finish yesterday. She said that the pair of them, of course, were happy to be on the podium on their home course, but they weren't particularly happy about the run. But it is very much still in the learning stages for the pair of them, getting used to each other. And Ria adjusting herself to being a guide. Skied fairly competitively herself. She was given the idea of being a guide by the professor at her university, who knew that Damir was looking for a new guide. And here they are, completing a run on day two. 1:16.84, well outside the top times, but Mizrak himself is still fairly new to the sport, so every day is a learning day. So Mizrak in fifth position, Simpson, Morgenfurt, Haraeus and Bertagnoli. And that time for the Italian, 1:02.48, close from Miroslav Haraeus, but a little error towards the bottom cost him dearly and left him just over a second back. But Bertagnoli's second run yesterday ended in a DNF. So we look forward to the second run of that competition. See whether it goes the Italian or the Slovakian's way. So coming up then, the men's standing event. This is the largest of the start lists throughout the course of this two-day event here in Zagreb. Robin Kuš, number 18, will not start here in this event. Just been given that information. Thomas Walsh will indeed. He finished second yesterday. Spencer Wood, the second of the two Americans to go a little bit later on, and a couple of new additions to the World Cup circuit. Leander Kress, Marcus Nilsson Grasto. They'll go directly after yesterday's winner, Hilmar Ovrassen, picking up Iceland's first ever World Cup gold. This is not only a studier of the slopes, but a studier of the arts. University with Thomas Walsh. He's giving me his own personal critique of my commentary yesterday. I've told him he's welcome to come and give me his feedback every day. which of course being Thomas Walsh, he's accepted that. He looked like he was on for a victory yesterday. A very good run from Olvason, stopped that from happening, but you see the speed from Walsh, got a little out of shape a moment ago, but that's somewhat his style, to throw himself hard into some of these turns. Walsh getting across the line. 101.58 for the 23-year-old. Will that be good enough for the American heading towards the second run? We'll wait and find out. Martin Wirtz. Excellent shifting of the body weight through that opening section. Trying to find the speediest line through the course. And another of our skiers with just the ability to use the single ski pole. 0.23 back on Walsh so far. 25-year-old from Weidhofen in Austria. How far away is he from Walsh in this section? 1.42 back. .158 goes past. 103.83 then for Martin Wirtz. 2.25 seconds away from Walsh. It's certainly taking it out of the athletes. You're seeing a lot of them doubled over at the end. Davide Bendotti. .24-year-old. Only took up Paralympic skiing in 2013. His first competitive race was 2015, so very much still learning. You see the leaves being blown all over the course here in Zagreb. Gives you an idea of just how blustery it has been up on the Siljermi mountain. 2.9 the difference for Bendotti. Single leg skier. Through the line, 4.62 seconds the difference between Walsh and Bendotti. Now Thomas Peel, bib number 19. 32-year-old who had a great bottom half of his second run yesterday. Little airborne a moment ago. This is quick so far. 0.47 inside Walsh's time in the opening section. That first intermediate time showing the Swiss is up. Another wobble a moment ago. Just had to adjust himself. And that has cost him. 0.09 down now on Walsh. Once you lose that momentum, you lose that line, the struggle is on. The struggle is very real to get back into the line and the shape that you wanted. As he comes towards the line, close, 0.42 behind though, and that makes for interesting reading a little later on. Walsh and Peel less than 0.5 the difference. 1:02 exactly given as the time, so just 0.42 behind the American. Spencer Wood, who on camera will be glad that he's got his helmet on. His central part of his head has been shaved, and upon further investigation that's due to some sort of team bonding exercise. The new boy on the circuit was allowed to be given a haircut by another member of the team, and apparently Tommy Walsh decided that he wanted to shave right through the centre of Spencer Wood's head, so he has a sort of double mohawk, if you like. My understanding is the rules are that you can't change that until you end up on the podium. I'm pretty sure Spencer Wood will be keen to get on the podium, unless he likes that haircut, of course. 21-year-old from Pittsfield. Finds himself 1.12 seconds back at the moment. That would be good enough to put him into third. But Hovassen still to come. And Wood find some extra speed at the bottom of this run. The gap is 1.91 in the end. Wood's time 1:03.49. Here's Great Britain's James Whitley. Still just 21. His first Paralympic Games experience in Pyeongchang. A couple of 10th place finishes. Finds himself nearly 2 seconds back in the opening stage. Again, another of the athletes with the inability to use either ski pole for James. Born without hands. Not allowing that to restrict him from enjoying the thrill of making his way down the mountain. And Whitley does that in a time of 1:05.71. Now, yesterday's winner. First, not only for Helmar Urvarsson, but for Iceland in general. 18-year-old single leg skier, always not enjoying day two as much as he enjoyed day one. Really having to fight with the course. And how will that affect his times? Oh, and down goes Ulvarsson. So from Sublime on day one to a slide on day two. And Ulvarsson slams his ski pole into the ground in frustration. And he makes his way down, but out of the competition. Just overcooking the turn. And a bum slide out of Zagreb. But he'll head towards the world champs with at least one victory to his name. Competition's wide open now, isn't it? Leander Kress. Also struggling. Another of the single leg skiers finding it difficult in the opening sections. Phil was quickest through this section in 23.05. Kress some 4 seconds back. This is very much early stages of this youngster's career. Just 17. Yeah, right leg amputation above the knee, age 7. Also competed at sprint para canoeing. And crossed the line in 1:13.76. He's the penultimate athlete to go in this men's standing event. Final athlete to go is Marcus Nilsson Grasto. Again, like James Whitley, no ski poles in use. 17-year-old. Nigh on 10 seconds back from the leader Walsh. Big heavy slides through the turns will only go to slow him down in this slalom event. And through the line he comes then. 1:14.94 to complete the men's standing classification. So a DNF for Hilmar Olvarsson, the winner of day 1's men's standing slalom, goes out of the World Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup on day 2, which means that Thomas Walsh from the United States of America and Spencer Wood, also from the US, are up in the top 3. They sandwich Switzerland's Thomas Piel in between them. Field's time of 1:02 exactly. Less than half a second back on Walsh. Not much of a gap between Spencer Wood and Martin Wirtz as well. There's the two Americans. Maybe Wood is thinking about that haircut. But Thomas Walsh will be thinking about maintaining his speed and line in the second run. And maybe taking a victory from this Zagreb World Cup with him towards the World Championships. One final event then on day 2's first run coverage. Men's sitting event. 4 athletes to go. Igor Sokorski of Poland won here in Zagreb last season, but went out early yesterday. This man on your screen had a simple run to take the World Cup points yesterday. And he will lead us away then. Jesper Pedersen, who by his own admission has had some pretty serious health issues in 2018. The The journey to Pyeongchang was a fantastic one, and picking up Paralympic gold in the giant slalom, easily the high point of 2018. The low point would be his illness that led to a really serious heart condition that meant that he had to stay pretty much housebound and relaxed for several months. So it really knocked his training, and he's now very much on a comeback rather than maintaining the momentum from Pyeongchang. Just good to have him back and hopefully stay fit and healthy, because he is one of those that really does bring a great level of technique and ability to the men's sitting category, as demonstrated just there as he flies through 102.03. We look forward to the men's sitting clashes as we did last season. Pedersen gives us our opening time. This is Egor Sikorski. He picked up his first ever World Cup medal last year, right here. Would have been bitterly disappointed to have gone out yesterday. He's behind Pedersen in the early stages. Can he find something through this section? You see the strength needed to really throw the mono ski from side to side. Predominantly single skis on the bottom of the bucket seat. And he has found something. 0.68 is now the difference. Good second phase for Sikorski. Bit of a poor line. Might have slowed him into the bottom section. It does indeed. 1.72 in the end. A big slide, and you saw the spray of snow from the bottom of the mono ski. That means that Sikorski finishes nearly 2 seconds back from Pedersen. Martin Gratahofer was the lone survivor with Pedersen yesterday from the first run, but then found himself disqualified for an infringement on the course inspection himself. So he left Pedersen all alone in the second run. So Gratahofer will be hoping for better with his second run. .27-year-old. Second intermediate time split for Pedersen was 43.32. This is the section where Sikorski made up a lot of time. And Gratahofer has done the same, so work for Pedersen here, as Gratahofer gets himself much closer. Oh, what a big slide this time for Gratahofer, pretty much in the same place as Sikorski. Oh, and Gratahofer off to the side, just couldn't control it in the end. And the Austrian, who didn't complete day one, doesn't complete day two either. Off the course he goes. Back to the chairlift. See Glathofer doing well to avoid those at the side of the course. And then there was one. Rene Di Silvestro from Italy. Starts his run, the final run of our morning session. A little air for Di Silvestro there. Pedersen was really quick in this opening section. Has the Italian got anything to match? .9, the difference. This second section was where both Glathofer and Sikorsky made up time on Pedersen, so this will be interesting for Di Silvestro to see if he can do that as well. Had a big spin out in the first run here yesterday. He's dropping time, 1.63. Needs to maintain his calmness and his balance on the course. And again, another side slide. Oh, and Silvestro goes as well. Has he stayed within the confines of the course? He's not 100% convinced, but he's going to carry on. There is a potential that he's missed a gate here, but we won't know that until the review. 108.87 the time. Got a big slide out to his right side. Continued, but be interested to see whether he's missed a gate here. He certainly goes through the blue. Well, this is the moment he's dragged off. And yeah, he might be all right there. So Glathofer confirmed as a DNF. Silvestro 108.87. Sikorsky 103.75. But Jesper Pedersen, the Norwegian, took a victory on day one. He's halfway there to making it the double here in Zagreb at the World Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup. So Pedersen takes victory in the men's event. It's been a good day. No real casualties in the opening run as the course gets reset for run number 2 and the final bit of action here in Zagreb. Say goodbye for the morning session. Make sure you join us just before 2 o'clock Central European time as we finish our World Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup in Zagreb. But for now, enjoy your day.